Hey everyone, so we got our hands on the 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz, and this is very exciting because this is truly a vehicle in its own class. Hyundai puts this as a sport adventure vehicle, and we'll obviously describe what that means throughout this video. But before we hop into it, if you guys are new to CarGurus, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, that way you guys never miss an upload. But let's go ahead and jump into this all new vehicle. All right, so to elaborate a little bit more on this sport adventure vehicle sort of concept, now this isn't necessarily your Ridgeline, this isn't necessarily your Tacoma. It's meant to be basically a fun SUV platform. So this does share a platform with the Hyundai Tucson with an open bed setup. So that kind of gives you a little bit more freedom, a little bit more flexibility to do more adventurous things, and it's just built to be a slightly more rugged and fun looking vehicle, and I love that. I love the front end, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you like the front end as much as I do? Because I think this is the best example of the separated headlight sort of look. So what I mean by that is your actual headlights are right here. So your high beams, low beams, all that is within this area. These lights that are going to turn on during the day are actually your daytime running LEDs, and it looks amazing. Once again, the best example of this I think I've personally seen. And I love how when you go up to the hood, you've got these really nice faint lines in the middle, complemented by these more aggressive lines out to the side. All right, so don't think I forgot about this beautiful color. This is called sage green, and it's like a real creamy green, that's for lack of a better term, but it looks really good on this vehicle. I love these 20-inch wheels, and you're gonna have about 8 inches of ground clearance, technically around 8.1. I love this fender well cladding. It's super heavy duty feeling. You have this up and down sort of arrow design going here, but if you get closer to it, it also has this texture to it, which is really nice, and it sort of adds to that slightly ruggedness to it. And then you have this little Hyundai Santa Cruz Easter egg here, which is nice because Hyundai is trying to establish Santa Cruz and help it build its own identity. And it kind of reminds me of what Jeep does and Mustang with having their logos all around the vehicle. And it's nice because I can see this being something iconic like that just because of the unique position of this vehicle. All right, so at the top of the Santa Cruz, you have these blacked out roof rails, looks great against the sage green. And now, whereas most trucks have a very vertical ending right here, this is going to have a fast C-pillar design, and it flows very nicely into your 4-foot bed. All right, so coming to the back of the Santa Cruz, I really like how it says Santa Cruz stamped into the tailgate. It's gonna say Hyundai here. You've got these really nice hammer looking lights in the back, and it does a great job of accentuating the width on this vehicle. And also on the side, it is gonna say designed in California, which is just a nice little Easter egg. Now, I do like these steps built in on either side. You actually have a step built in on the middle. You have another Santa Cruz Easter egg right there. And this middle step is nice because it can help you open this tonneau cover here in the middle. Okay, so in the bed of the Santa Cruz, if I hit that, it's pretty well damped. It's not the most damped, but it is way better than some other trucks that I've seen. You do have tie down areas right here. This strap is actually to close your tonneau cover, and it's cool because I can get this and basically just clip it. That way you can have it hold right there. You are going to have a built-in railing system, a bed light. You have some storage space right over here, and it's pretty deep. You have the same thing on the other side, but that one's also gonna have a 115 volt built into it. And the coolest part is if you lift this up, you are going to have an area in here. Now you can see a little bit of ice. That's because we had some drinks in here earlier. It is a very practical space, and you also have a drain plug in here, which is very helpful for just releasing all that water. You can have a built-in cup holder here in the tailgate and a bigger area for something like a big bottle. All right, so under the hood is where the sport and sport adventure vehicle comes into play. This is a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Now there's no official MPG numbers, there's no official horsepower specs, but we do have rough estimates. So this will make above 280 horsepower, more than 300 pound-feet of torque, which is excellent. Now we can assume MPG will be very good compared to other similar vehicles, and this is going to be hooked up to a dual clutch, and the dual clutch is really what's going to make this super fun to drive, just because it's a way more responsive transmission. So it should be fun hooning this thing around off-road and on-road. Now, the one thing about this is you have the H-Track system, which is specifically tuned for the Santa Cruz. Obviously, a more capable setup here, and with the 8 inches of ground clearance, with your center locking differential, this should prove to be a capable vehicle both on and off-road. And last thing to cover is towing. So Hyundai predicts that the Santa Cruz can tow up to 5,000 pounds. Now, considering this is much smaller than something like a Tacoma TRD Pro or a Honda Ridgeline, that is pretty darn impressive because both of those vehicles tow about the same as this, once again, with being bigger trucks. But I want to know, would you guys utilize that full 5,000? Is that enough, or do you think this should have more? Okay, so coming to the interior of the Santa Cruz, I can tell you right now, 100%, between Ridgeline, Tacoma, Colorado, Ranger, this is by far the best interior and the most high-tech interior. So you're going to have your moonroof right up here. Obviously, you have pretty nice seat design, perforated leather. I do like this little accent here in the middle, looks really nice. You are going to have your vents built into this really nice design flowing all the way down. And then you have this frameless screen. Now, the touchscreen is pretty much the same from any Hyundai Kia product, but it's so responsive, and I love how it looks integrated within this dash. It's simple, which is exactly what you want in something like this. You do have Apple CarPlay, you have Android Auto. You are going to have 2 USB ports, a 12-volt wireless charging pad, a little bit of extra storage space here, obviously your 2 cup holders. You're going to have a hill descent, a center locking differential. You have automatic brake hold, parking brake, parking cameras. You're going to have different drive modes, and I'll get to that in just a second. But then once you come up here, I love this setup. It falls right at my hand, and it's all facing essentially backwards. That way when I look down, I can see it perfectly. So you have ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. I hit this button right above that. That's gonna open my armrest. Super deep space, plenty for this type of vehicle. And you're going to have, of course, dual zone climate control, paddle shifters for your dual clutch, which is very nice, your steering assist, all of your adaptive cruise control settings, very nice steering wheel design. I love that I can rest my hands right here. And then you get to this digital display, so perfectly integrated into this dash here. Keeps everything very open. My visibility out the front is absolutely incredible. Extremely low dash, so I can easily see over it, and it feels very good. Now, on top of that, I love how when you switch through the drive modes, you have your nice fluid, effortless animations, and it's just really simplistic, but it's all very techy at the same time. So that combination of simplicity and that combination of higher tech than pretty much everything in the class is a huge selling point for me personally, and I think for most people who are going to be shopping this segment of vehicle. All right, so in the back seat, now for comparison, something like a Tacoma has a little bit more of an upright seating position. So I would be more like this in a Tacoma, whereas here I have a little bit of a recline angle. I've got surprisingly good headroom. For reference, I'm about 6 feet tall, massive hair, and I'm sitting behind myself, and I still have a decent amount of knee room. Feet room is excellent, and you are going to have a cup holder built into the door. You have 2 USB ports, 2 vents back here, and if I lift up this seat, you're going to have your jack assembly equipment right there, and if I lift up my seat, you're going to have even more storage space under here. Well, everyone, that's actually going to wrap up our review of the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Unfortunately, this is still a prototype vehicle, so we cannot drive it, but I'm very thankful we were able to get access to it so early on. Now, I personally think the Santa Cruz is going to do tremendously well, only because I love how Hyundai doesn't market it as your typical truck. It really is trying to be in its own segment, even beyond what a Ridgeline does. This is smaller, it's easier to maneuver, and if I didn't mention it already, this has a 20-foot turning radius, which is incredible considering this type of vehicle. I think there's many uses for this car. I think that if someone wants to have something that's fun, really practical, and you can take it on the weekends outside of your city and just have some adventurous times with it, this is essentially the perfect car. And with having the dual clutch, with having that much power and torque on tap, I think that the sport adventure marketing really makes sense for this vehicle. But we want to know what you think. I know this is such an odd positioning of a vehicle, so we really would love to hear what you guys think of the Santa Cruz. How would you utilize the Santa Cruz? Could you see yourself buying something like this? And if you guys are new to CarGurus, we would love to have you subscribe. Be sure to hit the bell. That way you don't miss our drive when we're able to drive the Santa Cruz. And you can visit us on cargurus.com. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next review.